We're going to be diving into the Arizona Cardinals 2024 rookie class. And yes, there was a lot of them. So we're going to attempt to deep dive and try to see what we liked, what we didn't like, and overall provide them a grade for their rookie year. Let's get started. Alright everybody, welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack up that like button and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we're covering the Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. Subscribe it up, it's absolutely for free. Alright everybody, let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about the Arizona Cardinals 2024 rookie grades and how I feel the Arizona Cardinals rookies ended up doing in their year one. Now please keep in mind, I don't use PFF grades, I just use kind of what I've seen and what I like from them, with the intangibles, all this different stuff. And there's 12 picks. We're not going to go through all 12 of them. There's two rookies that did not make the 53. That's Jaden Davis and Tajon Palmer. Not going to really talk about them too much. So now there's a couple people that are not applicable. And like I said, there's a lot of them. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's first start off here with our 4th overall pick. And that's going to be none other than Marvin Harrison Jr. Now I provided him with a A-, and I kind of went back and forth between A- or B+. Biggest reason as to why is expectations, right? A lot of people had so much expectations for him coming into the league, and they were expecting Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, right? Those type of premier wide receiver numbers, right? Or heck, maybe even a Brian Thomas Jr. or a Malik Neighbors type of numbers, right? But for the most part, I think he's right on par in terms of where he should be, in terms of like the best Arizona Cardinal wide receivers. Anquan and Larry Fitzgerald, they both had 8 touchdowns. He had 8 touchdowns, and he finished off the season with 62 receptions, 885 yards, and had a snap share count of about 75 to 90% of the snap share. Overall, I think he had a really fantastic year. These are things I would love to see him get better at in year 2. Physicality, 50-50 catches, right? Things like that, of course, right? Absolutely. I think he's going to get better as he gets older. He's 22 coming into the season, most likely going to be 23 coming into next season. So excited to see where his development is going to be, and the connection between him and the quarterback's only going to flourish moving forward, right? So I have him as an A-. Now let's move on over to the next guy here for the Cardinals, and that's going to be Darius Robinson. Now Darius Robinson, I think I was a little too harsh on this grade, but I have him as a C-. One of the biggest reason as to why is because in the 6-game sample size that we've seen, I feel like that's a good enough sample size to see in terms of what he can actually provide to the Cardinals moving forward in that rookie year. Now I do think he's going to get better in year 2 and then year 3, but overall I have him as a C-. But very, very unfortunate the way that his career, or I guess season started, right, with the calf injury, the re-aggravation of the calf injury, and then on top of that, his mom ended up passing away during the season as well. So a lot of things kind of were against Darius Robinson, but he finished off the season with 6 games. He had 4 solo tackles, 1 sack, and then he had a snap share count of about 40 to 50% per game. Now, what would make it a C or a C+ would be maybe like more solo tackles, right? Maybe getting him a little bit more involved, or maybe 2 or 3 sacks would definitely kind of tip it in the right direction. But like I said, I like what I've seen from him in terms of his intangibles and how he plays with that high motor. And there's been some plays where he was just a split second just right there between getting that sack or making a disruptive play. But that's going to be the difference between year 1 in rookie to year 2 in terms of getting everything under your feet, right? Because I think he was playing a little too fast when it came down to his debut, and maybe expectations were, over the roof, just like Marvin Harrison Jr., but our whole defensive line wasn't very great. So you need a lot of more complementary pieces in order for him to see him flourish. Really excited about what he's going to do moving forward, but I got him as a C- right now. Let's move on over to our 2nd round pick, and that's going to be Max Melton. I got him overall as a B-. I think he's actually did pretty darn solid for the Cardinals, to be honest with you. Now, during draft night, the way that this happened is the Cardinals ended up trading back that 2nd round pick. Now, there were some players out there like Cooper DeJean that I really, really did like, and it's not that I didn't like the Max Melton pick. I was almost just shocked, right? I was like, okay, we're addressing the cornerback, right? But I think overall he's good. I think he's a very, very good physical player that He struggled a couple times here and there, but he's a rookie, right? It's probably one of the hardest positions to go from the collegiate level to the NFL level, and I think he's going to get better and better and better. He's got 1 forced fumble, 36 solo tackles, and he had a snap share count of about 50 to 65%. Now, coming into the 2024 season, I think we can all acknowledge that the number 1 and 2 cornerbacks were going to be Sean Murphy-Bunting as well as Garrett Williams, and I think as he develops into being that starting role for the Cardinals, we're going to see him become better, right? But overall, he had a fantastic, good year for the Cardinals. I have him as a B- right now. Would I like to see a little bit more bigger, impactful plays in a more consistent basis? Of course, but that's going to come in time. He's got a forced fumble. I love to see it. Love the physicality. I really do like what I've seen here from Max Melton. Let's move on over to our first third-round pick, and that's going to be Trey Benson. Overall, have him as a C. I don't really think this is his fault, though. The way that the Cardinals, treated this, running back core it's the James Conner show, right? And because the Cardinals have extended James Conner, it almost kind of feels like the development of Trey Benson might be getting pushed back a little bit, or heck, you never know, maybe he does get a little bit more of a snap share coming into this year too. But overall, 63 carries, 291 yards. He averaged about 4.6 yards a carry, 1 touchdown. And honestly, I was expecting a little bit more of like 25 to like 30% snap share count, but that wasn't the case. He averaged around somewhere about 15 to 25% per game, and unfortunately he got injured and landed himself on the IR, so he had a couple games that he missed. But overall, when we first drafted him, I said to myself, man, this is a home run pick right here with Trey Benson. But it's obvious that the Cardinals were trying to, get a future pick for the Cardinals, but like they really love James Conner. They really, really love James Conner. So we'll see. We'll see what Trey Benson does moving forward. I think it's a solid pick, but overall a C is what I provided Trey Benson. Let's move on over to our third round pick, and that's going to be none other than Isaiah Adams, guard. Now, for him, we've seen him a couple times here and there, right? And it's been very, very spotty. I don't know. I feel like I haven't got a big enough sample size to actually say this is what I think of Isaiah Adams, right? Now, do I feel like he's going to get better in his career? Of course I do, right? In preseason, he was a turnstile. He did not look good at all. He developed in that year 1 to be pretty darn solid, right? Pretty darn solid. So is he the future at guard for the Cardinals? If we can get a future guard for the Cardinals moving forward, I think that definitely deserves a B, right, or a C+. But I just do not have a big enough sample size to say this is the grade that I provide to him. I like the intangibles. I like the development that he's done. But overall, I have him as a not applicable is kind of what I have him at right now. Third round pick, and that's going to be Tip Ryman. Now, Tip Ryman, I have him as a C-. We didn't bring him in here to be a playmaker. Absolutely not. We brought him in here to be another guy that could potentially catch the ball, but to block, right? Because we are using more of that heavy packages, right? It's kind of tricky to, to use him when you got a weapon like Trey McBride, right? Obviously, right? Trey McBride's one of the best tight ends in the entirety of the NFL. So, at least top 3, top 4. So, it's kind of tough for Tip Ryman, especially as a rookie, but he mainly was brought in to block, right? Get another weapon out there in terms of potentially catching it, but to block. He had a player stats of 6 receptions, 37 yards, had a snap share count per game of about 30 to 50%. Obviously, it depends on, the game, averaged up and down, but C-. I think he was solid, but like a little under solid, right? He's okay, right? He was okay. He didn't really have a big impact for the Cardinals offensively. There was a couple drives in the later parts of the games that unfortunately ended up costing us, either with like false starts or something silly like that, right? Like boneheaded, rookie mistakes, that type of things. He'll clean it up. I think he's a really good piece for the Cardinals on that offensive line for another potential weapon on that line. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do moving forward. Now for our last third round pick, that's going to be none other than Elijah Jones, cornerback out of Boston College. A lot of people had a lot of excitement about him coming into the 2024 season. Unfortunately, he was just hurt a lot of the year, landed himself on IR, and you didn't really see a good dosage of him. So I have him as a not applicable as well. Didn't see a big enough sample size to either say yay or nay on him, but not applicable is what I have him at. Now, this next pick, or our fourth round pick, this is probably the highest rated rookie that I ended up having coming into the 2024 season. Our fourth round pick, safety, Dadrian Taylor Demerson. Let's go. I really like him, man. I really like Rabbit. Now, I get it. This might be more of a this is what, obviously, these are my grades, right? But I feel like we got a solid player in the 4th round. And I'm talking value, right? Value-wise. We got a solid player in Daedrin Taylor Demerson. We seen one game where Jalen Thompson, ended up having to miss that game due to injury. He didn't skip a beat, man. He was there. Physicality was there. Knew how to tackle. He was doing everything he possibly can. I really like this pick. Now, like I said, I have him as an A. This is actually the highest rated rookie that I ended up having in this entirety of the 2024 class due to value and just, we got a dog here, man. We got a real solid piece in Daedrin Taylor Demerson. He had 23 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, and played 1 game as a starter and looked overall pretty darn good to me. I'm excited to see what the Cardinals are going to do with him moving forward. And I know there's some people out there that kind of pitch the idea of maybe releasing Jalen Thompson. I'm not in that boat. If the Cardinals really want to do the development, way, keep JT, right? Maybe if you want to do a 50-50% snap share account with him and JT, maybe you can do something like that. But overall, really like this pickup. I think it's going to be definitely a future starter for the Cardinals, and excited to see what Rabbit can do moving forward. So excited about that pick. Now let's move on over to our 5th round pick, and that's going to be Xavier Thomas. Now, Xavier Thomas, I like him. I really do. I think he's a solid pickup for the Cardinals. I have him as a C. Now, this kind of goes in the same boat that Darius Robinson was in as well, right? Where he's a defensive player, he's got some good tools, he's got some high motor, looks really, really good. It's just the snap share count, man. It's just not there for him now. Whether that's because he's a rookie, and especially because he's a late round rookie, that's probably why he's not playing that much. But overall, I think he did solid with his opportunity. 6 solo tackles, 2.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, had a snap share count of about 20 to 30%. And of course, that was from the beginning of the season to the end. Now, there were some games that he played like 10%, 15%, right? 30%. So it kind of varied from there. But overall, I like what I've seen from him. He can be a really good rotational piece for the Cardinals on the edge position. And I really like what I've seen from him. As of right now, TBD. Let's see exactly what happens with Xavier Thomas, but I really do like the pickup here in Xavier Thomas in the 5th round. Now let's move on over to the next 5th round, and that's going to be Christian Jones. Now I actually came out and said this could potentially be a 1st or a 2nd round pick in Christian Jones. Now, he did have a couple of flashes here and there, but I still haven't seen enough from Christian Jones. I also put him as a not applicable as of right now. I want to see a little bit more. Can he be the right tackle of the future for the Cardinals? Maybe. I did have a really high draft grade on him coming into the draft, and I know the Cardinals did as well, and they seen him as a steal in the draft in terms of Christian Jones. So maybe with a little bit more development, maybe he can be the right tackle for the future of the Cardinals. So overall, I think it was a pretty good draft class for the Cardinals. Average anywhere between like C's or A's, and there's a couple B's here and there, but overall, like if you're an A, you were a big part of either the offense or the defense. If you're a C, it really just kind of depends if you're rotational or you flashed here and there. But overall, like I said, the 2024 rookie class, we got a lot of building blocks with these young kids that we got here. And I'm excited to see what the 2025 rookie class is going to look like. So, ladies and gentlemen, what is your rookie grades for the 2024 rookies? Let me know in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cardinals.